So I just watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Now, I've been very, very excited about this movie. I grew up a huge fan of the Turtles. I think everybody in my age bracket grew up a huge fan of the Turtles. And I've been really excited to see this movie. I'm going to give you a spoiler-free review right here, right now. Let's get into it. Now, not to spoil my entire review right off the hop, but the Turtles are back, baby. This movie absolutely rocked. It was so good. This is the exact breath of fresh air that this franchise needed, because if you don't know, the last 2 attempts to revive this franchise did not work. Thanks, Michael Bay, am I right? It gave us a completely original and fresh origin story of the Turtles, while also, just showering us with nostalgia the entire time. So whether you're a new fan, whether you're an old fan, this movie kind of gave everybody exactly what they needed, all while being beautiful. Just a feast for your eyes. The animation was so stunning, and that made specifically the action sequences just so nice to watch. It was so fun and cool and badass and impressive. They threw in so much of the Turtles doing their cooperative fight choreography stuff that if you're a fan of the franchise, you've always known this to be what the Turtles do. And it was just so cool to see it done in this art style. And now the 4 of them, the 4 Turtles, just crushed it. They absolutely crushed it. They were perfect. The voice acting was flawless. The comedy they were able to build off of each other, the brotherhood, the heart. There was so much heart, and I didn't expect that at all. I expected a funny, fun action flick, but it was good. The script was good. There was a message. There was growth. It was really sweet. It was really, really sweet. It felt like the actors got a lot of room to improvise and play with their lines. Everything just felt so natural and organic. These 4 children are so impressive. And with that improvisation came so much comedy. Yes, the big punchline jokes and stuff in this movie, they usually landed, and it was well done, but it was the conversational, nuanced, subtle, just 4 brothers hanging out, quipping off of each other that were the standout. Like, I was laughing out loud at lines that were throwaways. It was a very formulaic movie in the sense of Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. I know that's what all movies are supposed to do, but sometimes it's not as on the nose. This one really made it obvious, kind of, but each act and every moment that passed was building off of the previous. This movie was all rise up until an awesome climax. Everything built up to this moment. They used every little thing along the way, and God, it was so cool. So much ratitude and comedy. I'm just very, very impressed. The soundtrack oozed style. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Come on. Always. And as always with them, it was very synthy, but being that this is a cartoon movie for kids, they took their synthy, dark, dwelling sound and really upped the stakes to a fun, boppy soundtrack. The movie is littered with pop culture references, like to the point that I didn't even catch them all. You can't. It just keeps going. And the best part about these references is there was so much for the new age, the kids nowadays. There were a lot of K-pop references and, them saying sus and things like that, but it worked. And then there were also a lot of references typically from more of your Ice Cube side of things that were more for the older fans too. April O'Neil was fantastic, and I won't hear otherwise. They did an amazing job with her. And if you're one of the people who are upset with how they depicted this character or think that it was woke garbage, then you are a closed-minded, idiot, racist loser who needs to just go back and watch the classics and shut your mouth. Thank you. Jackie Chan as Master Splinter, so good, so good. Added so much depth and heart to this character, which is a shame for what I'm about to say next because his subplot was a little too on the nose. Just a little too much. We're supposed to hate the humans. I think it could have done with a little more subtlety. The group of ragtag, I guess, villains worked so well. You could tell it was just Seth Rogen getting a bunch of his friends together, but all of them had so much fun. Seth Rogen even voice acted. He didn't just Seth Rogen it. He actually put on like a New York accent. I'm going to guess Brooklyn. But it was wonderful to see Seth Rogen actually put a little oomph into his voice. Special shout out to Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko, because holy shit, was he funny. I think the biggest issue with this movie, if I were to give it one big shining gripe, was the sound design, or the sound mixing rather. There were often times in this movie, specifically with Ice Cube's character, where the sound design was just off. The music or the sound effects or the Foley or anything that was going on was just drowning out voices. And I feel like I missed a couple of jokes or references along the way just because I was like, what was that? So let's recap. I started with a thesis. I did my body. Let's now reconclude. Reconclude? How do essays work? This film surprised me, blew me away, shattered my expectations. I expected to like it. I really did. I didn't expect it to be a genuinely great movie. The writing was simply just better than it needed to be. The portrayal of the characters was fantastic, and their chemistry, easily the highlight of this movie. I can't wait for you all to see just how impressive these kids are. And the animation style was just one of the most unique and interesting and fun things I've ever seen. This new era of, the Into the Spider-Verses and the Mitchells versus the Machines, and now this. It's so cool. The action never stops. The humor's on point. I genuinely think this is as close to perfect as they could get with a movie like this, which is a little juxtaposing because I'm not giving it a perfect 10 out of 10. That would be insane. But I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to give it 8 shells out of 10. That's like perfect. How could a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie be better than an 8? Like, I know it's literally 80%, but somehow an 8 out of 10 for a movie like this feels like it got a perfect score. I, for one, am very, very excited for the future of this franchise. Just a big nostalgic geek over here. They've already planned a sequel. They've already planned a spin-off TV series. A lot's going to happen. They finally did it. The Turtles are back. Heroes in a half shell. Dun 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 dun